Hello everyone and welcome back to MDG Media, bringing you this amazing European disc golf coverage. This is round 2 back 9 MPO chase card coverage of the 2025 World Championships. Given the significant weather delays throughout the day, they are playing this round very late now, already well into the evening, and a very late night for us here in the commentary booth. I'm Connor Wood, and with me, Mr. Elias Luukkonen.
What's up, Connor? What's up, viewers? Late night, early morning, however you want to call it. We are still here providing coverage for you guys and hopefully providing some small value about the players, about the course, about the events of this event. Events of the event so far have not been the greatest for our chase card. A rough start for many of the players, Bradley Williams being the only one under par, and the rest of the field is pushing, so these guys really need to pick it up on the back if they want to have a chance at this World Championship.
There's a lot of golf left to play, a 5-round tournament if you make the cut and get to play all 5. Our chase card hopes to join that group, and we kick it off here on hole number 10. A par 3 tunnel shot sitting at 88 meters. You have a series of gaps to hit throughout the entire flight of the disc. Some people opting for the forehand to try and make as much progress as possible, shaping most naturally for a turned over backhand, but it's really a shooter's choice here. Try to manufacture as many of the gaps as you can with a single flight. It's short, but it's technical.
Raven deciding to play the luck game with the forehand and doesn't land on the correct color this time. Forehand doesn't really have a clean line to get all the way to the basket, unlike the backhand here shown by Gannon. Look at this shot. That is the exact line that you have to hit. Nice anhyzer out of the hand. It plays best for a straight disc on a slight anhyzer, but that heavier flex can also work.
Too spicy for that little baby.
Albert, also very proficient with the forehand, opts for the backhand and well off the intended line. This is an early right that kicks deep left, but given this hole is very short, he just needs to chip another 30 to 40 meters out into an open look, and he's done that. And Bradley denied entrance to the green. 2 for 2 missed gaps from a player who I think is known for his backhand accuracy. And another stroke slips away from him there here on hole 10.
And I promise you that smile was not because he's happy, but because it's so ridiculous to bogey this hole. Only 4% of the field getting a bogey or worse. On this hole number 10, 48% birdies. And Albert joining the 48% pars on this one. Surprisingly, it's only the 3rd easiest hole on the course, despite averaging at 2.56 strokes. Super low scoring average, and showing that even this very difficult course offers a few super easy holes.
Despite that short 88 meters, you see danger for the chase card. Only Gannon able to secure the birdie. Bogey of Williams, the car playing at net par. Buhr holding the lead, at least on this card right now, at 11 under. Speaking of 11, 2 French fries here. Elias, break it down for us.
Yeah, if you choose the right French fry off this fairway, which you should, most likely, if you're going for the safer shot at birdie here, you're gonna throw a slightly understable distance driver, low, hard, and on a little bit of a hyzer. That's the most consistent play here. If you're gonna miss, please miss the gap, the first gap, rather to the right than to the left, because you see quite often the discs that end up on the right side of the fairway actually go through the majority of the right side trees. The planted forest here, very forgiving, and a shot like this from Gannon Buhr. This is not something you see every day, not even every month, possibly not ever if you're just the average stump at a disc golfer. But that's gonna be just outside the bullseye for a birdie on this huge par 3.
Raven not known for his distance, but hugs the left side of the gap does not beat the late corner. He laments what could have been. We go to Albert. Heiser, Elias, and low with this late flip, not really giving it a chance to move to the left. And that kick offers him a little bit extra complexity to his short upshot.
Bradley. Lovely shot through the left gap. Had almost all of the right ingredients to get all the way to the basket. Possibly just lacking a little bit of power. I mean, this hole is, even on the top level, is definitely a distance separator. Not all players have the comfortable distance of going 150 meters through the trees.
And a look from inside the circle for Newsom. For the par, Albert left with a fairly open forehand. Will just need to manage the overstability of his approach disc, and he does not. The fade comes in a touch early, but also in the circle there. Although I think at that distance he was hoping and would expect for more out of the average shot from that range. Go to the stepper from deep woods. Floats it over the top. As we'll move to Gannon.
My calling this just outside the bullseye was a little ambitious. Might as well be though. Dead center. Gannon is looking to get on track here with 2 birdies in a row on the back. He did shoot even par on the front, which in his own interview he said the front 9 is the more difficult one, and the back 9 definitely feels more scoreable. And I'd say this hole might even be the most difficult feeling hole on the back 9 from a player's perspective.
Gannon manifesting his strong start to the back 9 here, going 2 through 2. We see a series of pars for the others. Bradley to clean it up.
Good touch there. Just dropping the disc in the basket. Bradley also a player who has been changing his putting style constantly and trying out different stuff. He's definitely a technician of the game. As moving on to hole number 12, first of the par 5s of this back 9. We're gonna have a few of these. It's a double dogleg to the left. Off the tee you wanna throw perfectly straight or finish a little bit to the left, about 110 meters, ideally to the perfect spot. And really, it's all about the drive here. If you throw a great drive, you already pretty much know you're gonna have a birdie putt. Second shot is just a 70-meter pitch around the corner. Third shot is just a 70-meter pitch, hopefully to the logs 4 meters from the basket. And while this hole is difficult to park because of the shape of the green, it's very common to see people after a good drive finding themselves inside the circle for birdie.
This hole, in theory, by the numbers, would only need 4 62-meter shots. Could be played for safety. We see a good flat landing there. Newsom has more height and looking for a left finish, pushes the late tree line but comes back into a very nice position. Hugging that right side, opens up the continual bend to the left.
Yeah, a couple of good shots so far on Albert. This is inside, but if it gets slightly fortunate, can be okay. I'd call that more than slightly fortunate. He's gonna have a solid angle from the right side. Really, if you're short, if you don't quite reach the perfect sweet spot, you'd rather be to the right to open up that angle. Though if you go past the sweet spot, then you want to be more left. As Bradley, that's gonna be thick, and his start to the back 9 is not looking great so far.
We see the density of the rough here. The gaps that are available if you're just a few meters off the fairway. And a really nice shot there to fight through the trees, re-enter the fairway, and then sit down with likely another open swing, although tight to the left. Albert shaping the low hyzer, just getting to that second dogleg and around. He's playing well positionally so far, keeping himself in the fairway with a nice angle to proceed. Gannon now.
Very inside, needs to get around the corner and doesn't do it. Pretty big mistake actually. There's a lot of room on the backside and you don't even really need to get around the corner. It's fully okay to play, you know, near the FPO basket that is on the right side of the screen. You could see this random person standing there. Anywhere around that area is going to be okay, but our players trying to get a bit closer, play that, makes the birdie potentially easier, but can also cost you an extra stroke if you do something similar to Gannon.
Oh, yes.
Bradley shortcuts the corner. Gets a huge skip. He is left circle 2 looking up the hill. An ambitious but possible chance for him there. Gannon did in fact beat the corner. Openheiser look, he comes up a little bit short, similar to Bradley, I think a touch closer, but will be having a fairly safe run on the uphill.
This one needs to get back around the backside of the green. And there you go. Very good touch there. I thought it was much longer, but gonna have that short inside the circle look. Let's see, Raven. This approach is, it's all about that touch. You don't need distance here, but it's actually a great check to see how comfortable these players are at the very most basic shot of disc golf. A 65-meter approach, standstill, slight hyzer.
None of them with a completely parked shot. Bradley, the first attempt there, you saw he really had to manage a lot of obstacles. Gannon likely to the same. We see him leaning out to one side to open it up and strikes true. The bottom left side available for him through that tight gap, continuing to forge ahead here on the back nine as predicted. Now manifesting and executing. Albert.
Putting struggles. I think it's starting to be the time that it's fair to call it putting struggles. Couple of inside the circle putt misses we have seen from Albert. And I'm not worried about the misses, I'm more worried about the release that doesn't look quite dialed. Talking about dialed. That was dialed on the pole.
Raven's strength, definitely one of them on the putting green, is able to connect from what feels like almost any distance when he has a look. It's a very flat and direct release to the chains, not too much loft, not too much movement, a pure line.
Shout out to Tampere for being the best city in Finland.
Wow.
No biases here. Moving on to another par 5, a back-to-back par 5 stretch of 2 holes. Tell me when you have seen this before. This one plays very differently though. You have a couple of options off the tee. You can go for a big flex shot with a fairway or distance driver, or alternatively a very short 80 meter, maybe 90 meter turnover shot off the tee, setting up for a longer second. Second one, whether you go long or short of the tee, is gonna be all about getting as far into the tunnel as possible. And then wherever you end up, you often have a scrambly high forehand to the green. Or if you played perfect with 2 shots, just a very short pitch. It's definitely a hole that you can make very easy with a long drive or with a long second shot. You can't really afford to make one big mistake here.
Gannon. Unclear if that's a small or a big mistake, but does settle in friendly fashion. Raven looking to bend the corner. Punches too straight. We'll go to Albert here. A deep breath. Series of pars for him. Plays the turnover, but with the late release, does find that OB Pond Island, the murky waters, await his driver, Bradley now.
Looks like the aggressive play is the consensus of the group here, as Bradley, good fortunate roll. That 1 meter is gonna make the world of difference on the second shot. Gannon here. Interesting to see. He is still going for quite a lot of distance. A potential birdie look from there with a perfect forehand is still manageable, or at least possible. Manageable might be a strong word, as he's still about 130 meters away.
Raven looking to progress. His flight is abbreviated by that center tree. Really, these placements encouraging players to be super intentional about exactly what gap and which many gaps they need to hit and are trying to hit. This course often punishing a sloppy shot for Bradley there. Good progress up around the corner.
And Albert facing one of the biggest fears of many disc golfers, which is not only going OB off the tee, but throwing your disc into a pond that will eat your disc. And as Raven kicks to the left, a disclaimer about the ponds on this course. Can't recommend going in and swimming in one of them, as they are deep, they are muddy, and they smell like ass.
Now also smelling like Albert's disc. Gannon on an incredible birdie streak. Looks to continue it. Is not pure, but should be bringing the manageable par into play. We go to Albert.
Big whip on the forehand. You see that high reach back, getting the elbow way away from the body. It's a mechanic that we see used more nowadays in Europe. A lot of players getting more forehand power doing that. This time too much though, pushing the long side. And Bradley, not known for being a forehand player, but he's going to be on the edge of the circle. Some people call that a free circle 2 putt. Don't have to pay the price of making a long putt, but still no risk of ruining your C1X percentage.
Raven trying to scramble. Gets himself just before the plateau. The upper tier still exclusive. Gannon once again denied. These trees causing him great angst. We see there compounding errors on a single hole for a player of his level, particularly frustrating. And Raven thought he had it. I thought he might too.
Great angst, and the angst is gonna get even greater if he does not make this putt for par. And does.
Crazy putt there to secure it after, as I mentioned, multiple errors on the same hole. This par 5 at 287 he was able to get enough distance with his successful shots that they could cover the bases for the short ones. And an amazing putt to wrap it all up. Albert Band greets him as well here on 13. He has yet to secure a birdie this round, and they continue to evade him. Bradley here.
There he goes, solid birdie on the card. I think you can feel it on the coverage, how these backside trees are just so stressful for players. Double back-to-back par 5s. You have to throw so many good shots in a row to birdie, even one of them, let alone both. You can see the frustration. Even a calm player like Albert usually doesn't show that much emotion. As we're moving on to a short par 4, very technical off the tee. You have to throw an incredibly specific backhand steep hyzer to flip up shot here. You can go for just a pure hyzer, but usually then the left side rough comes into play very fast. So want to ideally get that little bit of a flip up on your hyzer, mid-range or putter. And then from the perfect sweet spot, plays really nicely for a backhand high flex shot, or a play that has been made more common by the hazard bunker on the right side of the basket, a forehand flex through some of the left side trees. It's a luckier shot, but still can work.
Bradley not beating the initial corner. Will have a lot of work left to the green. Gannon has it wider and a touch more height. And he settles up very nicely in the sweet spot. Pushes as much around the corner as he can without any amount of meaningful risk. And a great risk for Raven there. A huge slip off the tee. Full body weight. Hits the floor. And the disc hits the trees.
Yeah, we'll have to hope he's okay there. I believe the round is getting so late that possibly even the evening moist already landing on the ground. And looks like Raven is up and walking. That's good to see. Probably no career-ending injury there. Potentially not even a World Championship-ending injury.
Potentially not an injury at all. Bradley's shot injured by the trees on the left. Bleeds out to the middle. Raven left to scramble. The product of his slip throw. He will still be obstructed by that big evergreen. Gannon now. Soft Anheuser, nose up.
Just beautiful, just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Going with that slow disc even. The shot looked like it was coming fast around the corner, but with the slower disc, it was able to slow down just in time. Same thing for Albert. I mean, not quite the same touch, but he's gonna be inside the circle. A good result and a chance for his first birdie of the round.
Bradley also on the right side opts for the pure hyzer. And we see a great touch from him as well on the speed control. Managing the low speed disc into the green. Raven looking up to the skies here. Obstructed. He just wants to make as much progress as he can. Manufacture some sort of look for himself. And he's found OB. Or hazard rather. And Raven! Heartbreak on 14.
Wow, that's terrible. I mean, if we were commentating on Jomez, that would definitely be a no-mez right there.
We do the MDGZ over here for the nice and easy putts, just like Gannon's.
Let's hope for no speed out here. There you go. You know, sometimes you just get that feel that it's a speed out spot. And I'm sure Gannon has had his fair share of speed outs. He might actually be a player with some of the more speed outs compared to the putts made ever in his life. He used to putt really hard back in the day. And back in the day meaning about 1.5 years ago.
When he was just a young man, still pushing the limits of the game at a young age. What do we see here, Elias?
Yeah, hole 15. Once again, I've used this expression too many times already, but I'm gonna do it one more time. Unique hole. We get a different type of turnover. It's not a full turnover that already holds the line to the right all the way. You want to have that hold with a distance driver almost all the way, and then at the very end take that flat finish back to the left. You can throw very far off the tee. 150 meters is even doable until you get that OB pond, and then from there, from the ideal sweet spot, just a nice straight slight hyzer approach. A beautiful hole, a satisfying hole, a challenging hole even. And Gannon looks to have thrown this absolutely perfect. Never mind.
a potentially rewarding hole. Great view of Albert's forehand form there that you mentioned. Controlling the trunk rotation, leveraging the full kinetic chain to get that power. Near pure hyzer for Albert. Go to Bradley, the backhand with greater potential, but also a far more technical shot.
I love the angle. But same thing as Gannon. Looked so nice out of the hand, but that late fade once again has to be very specific. The fairway is wide and fair. This is what I feel like a lot of the players are saying about the course. Why they love the course so much is because the fairways are actually a fair width, but you still have to be very specific with the angle that you throw. So a bad shot is always going to be a bad shot, and a good shot is always going to be a good shot.
They reduce some of the randomness, these intentional details, every slope, every blade of grass, every hazard bunker, every pond, every stake in the ground, done with care and attention to detail, just like Albert's upshot here, as he tries to get all the details right, and the majority of them he's done well to give himself a look just outside the circle, softly uphill.
Now, if Gannon wasn't the best player in the world, his caddy might say, please don't even attempt this, but he has thrown one of the most magnificent shots you can imagine from the left side of the fairway inside the circle. He had 110 meters to go with no more than a 1 meter gap ahead of him.
And he knew the moment it left his hand, it was going exactly where he wanted. We see a human disc golfer right there, going for a same gap as Gannon, but pays the price with a hard kick left. Raven looking to access the green with the forehand, but the nose angle is downwards on Anheuser, and it never had a chance. Additionally blocked by the tree. Doesn't make too much difference ultimately to the final distance though. And Bradley left with a steep hyzer scramble. Wow. Nicely done.
Very technical there. I'm impressed that he was able to get that skip at the end, even with such a severe angle. And Raven could fix the error of the last throw with a nice little throw in here. Let's see if he's going for it. Definitely going for it. There's a bit of an upslope behind the basket, so not the worst place for a long bit.
Albert with one of those as well, drops to the knee, gives it the pump, but ultimately fades early in the flight. Nothing but air. Gannon inside the circle and inside the chains is continuing this hot streak here on the back nine now. 5 under for the round, has only missed a single hole of the back nine for birdie. He's really executing the game plan which he himself outlined. Shows you why he is currently the highest rated player in the world, able to stick to that game plan. Bradley, complete focus here.
Good stuff there from inside the circle. And yeah, talking about Gannon, I feel like he does this every single time. I feel like every time I watch him play, he's looking a little shaky. Not everything is going his way. Maybe he gets some unfortunate kicks, misses a couple putts. All of a sudden he's 5 under on one of the most difficult courses in the world. And really not so many strokes back of the pace that you need to be setting in order to stay competitive.
Hey guys, quick pause. A lot of people are involved in this project. Our goal is to grow the sport and share it with as many people as possible. So if you want to support us, subscribe to the channel, like and comment the videos if you like them, and hit the bell so you don't miss anything. It seems small, but it really helps us keep creating free content on YouTube. Enjoy the video.
Moving on to the third par 5 of the back nine. We're racking up the par numbers here. 284 meters. Legend says that Jussi originally thought that this could play as a par 4, and this was multiple years back. Simon Lizotte, testing the course at that time, told him, Jussi, this is not a par 4, just bump it up to 5. Could be Eagle Bull though with a big drive. You want to throw something straight off the tee, get slight turn with your distance driver rather than a fade, because the right side is nicer for the angle. Second shot, if you're in the perfect position far down the fairway, you can actually access the green with either a big turnover backhand or a big forehand, but more often than not, you're just trying to play out of the gap with your second, set yourself up for an easy approach on the third. It's definitely one of the more gettable birdies on the course, and if you miss this hole, you're not going to be happy.
Gannon gets the majority of the flight, drops down quickly on the early left corner. Albert also opting for a hyzer release with a understable disc, pushes the right side, similarly sits down. Both of them not completing the flight, and on opposite sides we will see the associated risks and challenges of being both left and right off the fairway. Bradley, a very nice kick back out to the right, will offer him an open swing. Raven to stop the bleeding now. 4 over through the last 3 holes, really looking to end strong.
That's gonna be okay for a birdie position. You mentioned bleeding. Talking about bleeding, there are a lot of mosquitoes on this course, and while you can't really see them on coverage, it's definitely something that affects the play on this monster, definitely more than on the other course over at the Beast. So we see a couple of similar looking shots. Raven actually hitting the gap unlike Bradley, and this is gonna be in solid position. Just get around the tree. Damn, that's actually kind of unlucky to land there. Anywhere else and he's gonna have a pretty easy birdie.
Albert says, I would like to avoid that tree please, but goes towards the left side trees with a crazy skip on a small patch of hard packed earth there. We see Gannon chipping away through the trees and back into them, playing along the left side tree line. He's getting progress with each shot, but is never having a clean look out yet. Bradley looking to take advantage of the kick.
Wow, this is looking incredible. Look at the forehand. My God, that, I mean, what are we seeing? I mean, I didn't think, no offense to Bradley, but I didn't think he had a 125-meter standstill forehand like that.
And this isn't the first time he's done it, although I think he's not well known for it. Obviously a backhand predominant player, is able to prove his well-rounded and versatile skill set here. The upshots now. Hyzers into the island. Albert with a more straight look ups for the Anheuser, looking to flatten out to straight at the end, and actually gets a skip off of the other player's disc. Likely a bit longer than if the wood chips had caught him fully. We go to Gannon.
And that felt like a putt that could have given him all of the momentum in the world to continue the birdie streak. And Albert, rough to watch on the green, unfortunately.
Raven has been a pleasure to watch on the green. His damage really coming most often off the tee. These roughs and these dangerous fairways, forcing players to be in complete control for hours throughout the day. We are late into the evening now, second to last card, many hours of lightning delays. We have 2 holes remaining. Hole 17 here, par 4, 192 meters, requires a very tight and accurate shot off the tee down the tunnel. You can just throw a net straight shot or even one that ends to the left, but ideally you go right around the corner with the forehand hyzer or the very understable backhand and wind your way uphill around the trees, splitting the fairway, going with a soft dogleg all the way uphill and to the right. We get to another mounded basket with slopes on all sides. Players have to be considerate along the entire hole to avoid the dangers.
Bradley just showed a great sidearm. This one, not so great. He hit the initial gap, which it's pretty rare to see somebody hit the gap but not make it all the way out. Usually the players are very consistent with their release angles, and if they hit their release direction, they're gonna be out there. But 2 out of 2 players not doing so. Gannon though, this is the perfect drive. I mean, if you want to nitpick, it could be a bit longer to open up the angle, but he would take that drive any day of the week.
Albert known for the forehand prowess. We see him also execute the shot very well. Solid skip at the end. Raven gets himself back into position. Bradley going very low under the initial ceiling. Pure hyzer tries to get as much as he can given his poor angle into the green. Raven now, after the positional play, shapes the piercing shot. Really nice progress. Doesn't quite complete the flex, but that's very difficult to do given how uphill and how long this shot can play.
Gannon gets lucky through the inside trees. Pulled it just a little bit, needed to be a bit wider, but doesn't pay the price. He's gonna have a putt for birdie on this hole that is actually the second hardest on the course. We have a very polarizing finish, with hole 16 being the second easiest, hole 17 being the second hardest, and hole 18 being the easiest hole on the course.
Bradley controls the turnover around the corner. I think a favorable branch keeps him close. We go to Albert looking at danger, and with his struggles today on the green says no thank you. I am laying that one up. A safer look though from down the hill. Williams in for the par.
Important strokes there, and he knows it. Staying inside of top 10 as Gannon. Another birdie on the back. Living up to his own words, saying that the back nine is more scoreable than the front.
It's actually really tough. There's a really small gap. I'm not sure how Brad did it.
Bloop 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 submarine has entered the Tampere Monster course. Legendary hole, and so much work originally put into making this green with the submarine shape. 107 meters, we're going downhill, so playing closer to 95 in order to reach the hole. Want to land somewhere on the second tier ideally, just short of the basket. Slide your way up there. It's hard to be in the bullseye here. I'd say most of the good drives land somewhere between 4 and 7 meters. That is still can be a scary putt if you're not feeling fully comfortable with the stroke. But otherwise, 64% birdies on this hole. All of these players have to birdie it in order to keep pace.
These players looking for a breath of fresh air. Arriving here on the submarine hole, this is a lungful. We see a beautiful controlled flex by Gannon hitting the front mound, center cut. Go to Bradley, slightly higher on a similar line. Lands it on the second plateau. Great control from him as well there.
Sidearm from Albert. I like the pushing release. Also lands on the second tier. Perfectly done. 4.7 meters for the birdie there. Even with his difficult amount of putting, we pretty much have to count that as birdie. Let's see if Raven can be the fourth person to stick it, and there he goes! You can see the lush grass catching these shots just beautifully. Everybody inside the circle. Chance for a star frame.
And to the crowd's delight, Williams connects for a total 4 under here. Certainly competitive at the Monster. Albert conquers the putting woes here of this second round. however, does end +2 ultimately on the day, falling back after his momentum on day one. The birdies continue to roll in for our second feature card. Gannon Buhr leads it. That final birdie. Great round of 7 under through 18 holes. And look at that back nine, Elias. 7 birdies exactly.
All right, Bradley, you were on chase card coverage for the second round of the World Championships here in Finland. How was your day?
It was a long day. We sat in the car most of the day, honestly, waiting to see if we were going to play at all. And we didn't start until almost 6 p.m. or after 6 p.m. actually, so 6:30. It was like we already had dinner before we played, so it was kind of weird. And then the weather made it really humid and sticky out there. So having confidence on the grip was kind of weird because you either thought you were going to have like a slip out grip or too much grip, which it ended up being too much grip most of the time. The card was, we had a good gallery, highly skilled players, and it felt really intense. It felt more intense than a lot of rounds I've played in a while. So I guess that's the World Championship chase card experience. But yeah, the round took a long time. Our group struggled during different parts of the course, but there was a lot of great shots and putts. So overall, it was a good experience, but man, it was intense.
And long, like you said. What is it like, and how you gather your focus after waiting around all day, you know, with the schedule being just so disrupted?
I think just having like a good mental routine before your pre-shot and try to stick with it as best you can and do some breathing exercises in between shots to try to lock in. But honestly, it was really hard.
Yeah, you mentioned added pressure and large gallery being other worlds. How does this Worlds compare to others you've played in the past?
Well, the Monster is one of the hardest, or the Monster is the hardest course I've ever played. And the Beast is like a sprint race course. So when you're playing the Beast, you need to birdie or you're not going to stand a chance. And then here, it's just the hardest course ever. If you hit anything, there's a good chance you don't get par. And we already saw one of the greatest rounds of all time today by Ezra Aderhold, who shot 14 down, which is unbelievable. Going into this round, I thought if I could shoot like 4 or 5 down, that would be great. I thought the hot score might be an 8, and I had no idea. I would have never guessed someone was going to shoot a 14.
That's unbelievable, yeah. I mean, hard to even imagine how that happened, but you held your own, right? Like you said, you shot the 4 down. You're still in the top 10. How do you feel about your position going into round 3?
Honestly, with how my last like 5 weeks of going physically and mentally, I'm really optimistic and thankful to be in this position, and hopefully I can carry some of that momentum going forward to the weekend.
Sounds great. Good luck. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Ezra, you just caged up the Monster here, shredding a course record 14 under, second round of the World Championships. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's kind of surreal. I mean, I think it's the best round I've ever played in my life. I did another interview. Nate was saying that it's the best round in World Championship history potentially. So it's obviously really special. You know, this is the big one. This is the tournament everyone wants to win. So to have a really hot round like this and kind of put myself in position feels really good.
Yeah. So the putting was insane, especially C2. You know, you made them all. How were you feeling on the greens?
Yeah, really solid. I mean, yeah, like you said, all my C2 putts kind of dropped. I made one from C3, I think, on 9 to save Paul, which was really nice. Did have 2 C1 putts that didn't go in the basket, which typically if you shoot around this hot, usually all the C1s go in. So, yeah, I mean, we'll try to clean up. It's hard to say I'm going to try to clean anything up for tomorrow. You know, I'm going to try to play my best golf and see what happens. I'm not complaining at all with 14 down.
Yeah, so it's preliminary saying 1094. How do you feel like that compares to other? I mean, you said it's the best round you've ever played, but do you feel like it could be maybe?
Yeah, I think it's definitely my best round ever, and I've had a few other rounds in the 1090s. Never had that 1100 round, so the PJ kind of always wants to snub me a little bit. I think in order to have a round in the 1100s, you need a ton of OB to help people take the really big numbers and really inflate the ratings. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why we didn't see the 1100 mark for this one.
Yeah, either way, incredibly hot round. Congratulations on such a hot round, and best of luck moving forward.
Thanks so much.
Looking to conquer the field, we saw an incredible course record, new, set by Ezra Aderhold at 14 under, and many players as well getting to that double digits per round, Elias.
Yeah, impressive stuff, and wow. This is the last day we're gonna have the original A and C pools, so the next day we're gonna mix the pools with the top 100 players all playing on the same course. It's gonna be Tampere for tomorrow's round. Please come back for our round 3 coverage from the chase card. We are going to sleep now. Hope you guys are going to sleep, or at least going to work, if not to sleep. It's late.
If you don't sleep, just subscribe to MDG Media instead. It's just as easy, maybe even more satisfying. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next one.